Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Turning Heel podcast. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by my co host, Mike, and his son, Sean. Guys, how are you tonight?
We're doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, even with the sticker.
I'm doing great. Yeah, I see that. Nice sticker. What a weekend this past weekend was. WrestleMania. You know, it's funny, a lot of times I feel like I always try to avoid using terms like the biggest WrestleMania ever, the biggest tag team match ever. Like, I don't like using those words because it kind of sets yourself up for a disappointment or, like a letdown. But man, I feel like this past weekend, they delivered exactly what they said they would. It was the biggest WrestleMania of all time.
It was a good one.
Come this way.
It definitely was a good one. The one thing I have to say is Saturday went on too long. And Saturday, the main event, the fans were dead in the opening of the main event.
Yeah.
A good 20, 25 minutes. It was just slow. It was boring. I think people, because it was so windy out there, especially I was up in the 200 level, and
Sure.
it was just like, let's just end this at some points.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, and I know you were at both nights, so you didn't get to hear the commentary. I don't know if you rewatched it at all.
I rewatched night 2 because I was there and I wanted to see the commentary and it real up close, so I did.
I rewatched night 2 with them, so I've seen night 2 with the commentary, but I've heard Saturday Michael Cole complained a lot about it being cold.
Yeah, Michael Cole needed to get his panties out of a bunch. I mean, complaining about the weather being in the 40s and the 50s, bro, cry me a river. I was in that stadium when it was a degree out. So don't bitch to me about it being cold.
Well, that's what happens.
51 degrees with the wind that's in the 40s. Oh, dude. No wonder. He's from Texas, right? You can tell.
I don't know.
Like, what a wuss. Although he's a big New York Mets fan and Jets fan, so.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if he's from New York originally, but he should be.
If he's from New York, like, this is nothing.
Right. He should know. Like,
My favorite match of night 1 is the ladder match because the Awesome Truth got the titles, but how was anybody supposed to expect A-Town Down Under to win the titles? That just proves that they were like, we could throw surprises out for Triple H's WrestleMania. You can't really predict it. I think that's what the whole point of A-Town Down Under was. Winning the titles.
I agree with you there. Like, if you go back at our conversion rate, like the matches we got right, like this past weekend, I'd say they're a lot less than what we did last year.
I think I
think last year's card was a lot easier to predict.
Yeah, I the only one who really did well at WrestleMania was me. I'm the only one who did semi well in picking up points.
No, I got the LA match.
Right, you picked up a point with that one.
None of us got the Logan Paul match. And why in my name would I change to my I changed to the Final Testament and for AEW
and then the
NXT.
Right.
I chose JC Jane's team to win.
Well, I'm having technical difficulties with it. Yeah.
So therefore, I lost 2 points from changing my answer.
Yeah. You always go with your first instinct. That's what they tell you. And
that's right.
You changed twice and you lost both times.
That's why I'm not going to change anymore.
Right.
Well, that's a good strategy. Trust your gut.
I still tough to make it up, though.
But what I mean, I can't give enough credit to WWE. What a great weekend. It certainly looked like everybody down there was having a blast.
They were, for the most part.
Yeah.
One of my former coworkers said someone was reading in the stadium, which I guess they brought their children and didn't want to watch it and read a book or something. Who knows? But I think they really did well. One thing that I really enjoyed,
You have coworkers?
former coworker, one thing I really enjoyed was how Drew McIntyre came out to Scotland the Brave, giving
Yeah.
a very old school Roddy Piper heel vibe from the first WrestleMania. And then to get
Yes.
the local fans going, Seth Rollins comes out with the Mummers of all things. So I thought that was pretty cool how they played that little angle up.
And my God, the commentators, like, how did the commentators, how are they not, like, how are the producers and stuff, how did they not have anybody from Philly in their ear telling them, these are the mummers, they're not fucking clowns, they're mummers. Like, oh my God, that was so frustrating. Like,
Michael.
I don't know.
my wife was like freaking out watching that.
Right.
I can't wait till CM Punk gets better. I think
Bruce
CM
Richard,
Punk's
I'm calling you out, Punk. I know you were the one in the headset.
Yeah.
CM Punk, Drew
Yeah.
McIntyre with Backlash.
No, Punk's gone for a few months.
Well, I don't think Punk's going to be, he won't be cleared.
Yeah.
Want to bring this up. Thank you for tuning in from Cedar Hills, Texas. Thanks, David. Appreciate you, bud. But so, yeah, the vibe going into from night one to night two. Yeah, I loved the whole, Cody's screwed. And yeah, one of the producers was really good. Thank you. They're not clowns. They're mummers. And they don't run out on New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Day.
The Mummers.
Yeah. Not to nitpick, but you're gonna try to spout off knowledge to explain to the people not from Philadelphia about the mummers. I don't know what you're fucking talking about. Like,
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, let's get into the card. You know what? Let's just do the whole weekend. Let's just break down the whole weekend. First off, I got to watch Supercard of Honor. Great show.
Okay.
Ring of Honor, they kill it, man. Like, in spite of Tony Khan not wanting to invest anything in Ring of Honor, like, that roster makes that whole league there. They make the whole show.
Right. I have yet to see Supercard of Honor. So
You should definitely watch it. Yeah.
I'll get around to it at some point.
Yeah.
But
was that Eddie and Mark Briscoe?
Yeah, that was Mark Briscoe beat
Right.
Eddie Kingston for the title. Yeah, I didn't have a chance to watch. I heard it was good, so.
Yeah, it was definitely a really good show. You'll enjoy it. NXT Stand and Deliver on Saturday. Boy, when I tell you that, my wife said to me, hey, you know what? Since you don't get to go to any of the WrestleMania this weekend, you can have as much rum and coke as you want. And let's just say I did, especially on Saturday.
Well, there you go.
And yeah, I tied one on, especially like I said, Saturday night.
Okay, well, God bless then, if that's what you felt like tying one on. Because I think you texted me Sunday saying you were a little tipsy when Cody won.
Yes, I was. I was tipsy on Sunday as well. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was cool. Sunday night, my wife, Saturday night, she watched some with me. But then, went to bed. She was tired, long day. And
Mhm.
then Sunday, she's sitting there with me, and I think she was planning on going to bed before the end. But then she's just like, well, I watched the whole show. She's like, I'm sitting with you for the main event.
Right.
And so
And
she did.
the main event blew it out of the water.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I love that, like, look, I know some people are probably going to criticize, like, a lot of the hokey extra stuff that they did with, John Cena coming out, The Undertaker showing up.
Right.
I thought it was really good for the casual fan, bring out some of those guys. Look, as much as I'm a hardcore wrestling fan, and I know you guys are too, like WrestleMania isn't about us. Just like the Super Bowl isn't about the hardcore football fan. Like it's just not. Sorry, guys. Like it's about bringing in the casual fan and making them more interested. And
Right.
what
That's
could
how,
be a better way than to bring John Cena, The Rock, Undertaker into that
right.
show?
I was really hoping Stone Cold was coming back, but
I was too. I thought that would have made more sense because of the WrestleMania rivalry between Austin and The Rock.
right. And that's the thing. My cousin sent me a message saying, I really
Yeah.
wish The Rock would have taken one more stunner. But hey, you know
Yes.
what? We got,
Yeah, because he sells the shit out of that stunner. It's great.
right. Hey, we got a nice one with The Undertaker, though.
Oh yeah. Oh no, and look, I don't want to downplay anything. Believe me, nobody's a bigger Undertaker fan than I am.
Oh, that I know.
But I mean, Austin would have blown the non-existent roof off that building.
Mm-hmm. It would have.
If you had heard that glass going and Austin comes out, comes The Rock, and just think about it. Afterwards, after Cody wins, Cody and Austin drinking some beers, celebrating.
Right. But I kind of like the Cody celebration. It reminded me a lot of Bret Hart
Yes.
at WrestleMania 10, where everyone went into the ring,
Yep.
kind of put the stamp on and said, this is our guy. This is the leader
Right.
of the babyface side in the locker room now.
And I absolutely loved that, Cody got to do what he wanted to do with presenting the championship to his mom. That was really cool. I'm really hoping now. I know he had to go to New York for the Today Show on Monday morning. I was watching that. And then he had to be back in Philly, so he probably didn't have a chance to go to his dad's grave, wherever that is, whether it's Texas or Georgia or even Florida, wherever that is. What's that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
think
don't
it might
know.
be Florida.
Okay. But wherever that is, I hope that on Friday night on SmackDown, we get an image that somehow surfaces of Cody placing the championship on his dad's grave.
That would be cool.
I feel like that would be really cool.
I think that would be cool. And then I love how some of the fans on the internet, oh, this guy's crying. This is who you really want to be your champion.
How did you not cry?
Yeah.
No, it shows emotion.
I cried.
When they did that video on Monday night and Cody was crying.
That shows that he really cares.
Right. That shows that he cares about his craft. That shows that he is someone that everyone else gets behind.
Yeah.
The way Samantha Irving's voice was cracking during Sami Zayn's victory and Cody's victory shows that she has emotional connections to her coworkers.
And how great a job did she do this whole weekend?
She was fantastic the whole weekend. And then when Michael Cole mouthed, you can read his lips saying, "I love you, man," to Cody when he won.
Yeah.
That was just another special moment. And the fact that most of the top baby faces were out there to celebrate with him. I think that was a nice stamp and a nice approval that he's going to be the guy.
And did you have? I'm sure you saw like when Cody was covering Roman. Roman had this big smile on his face, and
Yeah.
he was just so happy that he got to do this for Cody,
Yeah,
and that was really cool. That was a class move by Roman.
that was.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
And I almost got Denise a shirt because the one Roman's Reigns shirt that they were selling in the club box level on Sunday, it just said Philly, acknowledge me. I'm not a huge Roman fan, but I like the shirt. I should have gotten it for her teaching in the school district. She could have worn it.
Yeah, that actually been pretty cool.
Yeah.
I still like the one. And, like anybody who's watched this show or our old iteration, the TLC podcast, you guys know how critical I was of WWE. I guess we both were after last year's WrestleMania. I will say one of my favorite shirts that I saw them make was Roman Reigns, holding the one up the air, life's not fair, and still. And I thought, I'm like, okay, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah. I dug that part. I dug the whole like digging in at all those people like, come on, let Cody finish his story. Yeah, life's not fair. And still.
Yeah. And still.
But I'll ask this because all I heard last year from anybody who thought the right thing was done last year, they said, okay, well then what? You let Cody win, finish his story, then what? So now I'll ask now. Cody won. Cody finished the story. He's the champion. Now what?
Well, we got to find him a challenger for Backlash.
Somebody's gonna either maybe Brock Lesnar comes back, challenge Cody.
I don't think Brock's coming back anytime soon.
I think what we might get at Backlash, I think we might get Cody versus the Ring General.
I think that'd be fantastic.
Because he just dropped the IC title.
Yeah.
Do we move him immediately into the main event picture? Is what they have to ask themselves. Or are they going to wait till Bash at Berlin?
See, to me, I want to let him come up short against Cody because whoever challenges Cody first, again, it's going to be kind of like the whole story I remember telling you guys about when Cactus Jack Mick Foley was challenging Ron Simmons when Ron Simmons won his first world championship. And, Cactus says to him, well, what happens if I get him down and he can't get back up? And, I know I'm not supposed to win the world title. He's like, I don't give a damn if Ron Simmons has a heart attack in the middle of the ring and dies. You pull his dead body on top of you and let him pin you.
Right.
And that's kind of going to be the general instruction, I think, given to whoever challenges Cody first.
Right. And I think the same thing for Jey Uso.
Yeah.
With Damian Priest. I think it's going to be one of those. I think Priest is going to hold this title till June. That's it.
Yeah, I would think that would make sense. He'll drop it in June, July, somewhere in there. In fact, what I think would be fantastic would be if Drew McIntyre were to then end up somehow winning Money in the Bank, cashing in soon after to win the world after a grueling battle. Maybe even have Damian Priest defend in an Iron Man match or something.
That would be fantastic, but we have this big problem though.
Yeah.
We have Clash at the Castle in June.
Yeah.
Clash at the Castle is in Glasgow, Scotland.
Which makes a whole lot of sense for Drew McIntyre to challenge Damian Priest at Clash at the Castle.
And you got to let the hometown person win when
you have to. They didn't do it last time when Drew was there at Clash at the Castle.
Right.
Yeah, this time you have to let Drew win. Drew and look, as much as when I would sit here and criticize, WWE didn't let him have his moment in front of fans. And I do like when Seth Rollins pointed out, like, dude, nobody cares about your damn moment. Like, gee, there were bigger tragedies at the time. And I remember thinking, Seth's got a point.
Right.
Like, maybe I shouldn't bitch that much about, oh, gee, sorry you didn't get to win the title in front of fans. Yet such and such here just lost his mom, his dad, his brother. Like, I think there are bigger tragedies.
Yeah, there definitely was. With COVID.
Yeah. And so I liked honestly, I liked that whole angle with Seth and Drew. And I liked that Drew, like, it kind of felt like, even though he was still bitching and like came across very heelish, he did a babyface move in acknowledging Seth Rollins and and basically thanking him for
What he did.
coming out there, falling on his sword and taking it like, taking it on the chin like he's supposed to.
Yep.
And quite literally at the beginning of that match, took it on the chin with that Claymore.
Yeah, and Seth's going to be gone for a while now.
Yeah.
Why?
He's injured. He needs some time
He
off.
is banged up. I mean, he's hurting.
Seth again?
His back's real bad. He needs some time
Well,
just
I
to
think
get.
isn't Roman Reigns going to go out because of his cancer?
Well, Roman's going to take some time off. The Rock is. Seth is. So now
It seems like a lot of those guys are taking some time off.
Now they
And
really
plus-
are going to hit their hard reset button.
In fact, that hard reset button is becoming in, the way of the WWE draft, which coincides very nicely with the NFL draft.
You know what I love, but it would happen? I would really love, but it would never happen. Million years. Roman, Seth come at the same time. Play the Shield music. Dean Ambrose walks out.
I kind of thought that might have been Dean Ambrose coming out when they played the Shield music on Sunday.
On Sunday, yeah, because he thought, he goes, is Dean Ambrose back? I said, no, he can't be back. I mean, the fact that Dustin was in the building and wasn't on TV.
Right. There had to be an agreement with AEW that, okay, we'll let him come there so he can be there, but you can't put him on TV.
Right. And Dustin wasn't the only AEW talent there either. So
Dustin was there and they didn't put him on?
Yeah.
That sucks because that's his favorite.
Right. Because Ricky Starks was with Dustin. I'm sure you saw that picture. And then there was a huge picture in the back in the Eagles locker room, it looked like. And it was Dustin, Ricky, Aaron Solo was there, and QT Marshall.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they were all there with Cody's family. So I guess in one of the suites they were. So, but that was good.
Overall, I'd say it was a fantastic job that WWE did from start to finish the whole weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think Dean's ever going to go back to WWE?
You never say
never. Yep.
I mean, I would love the shows to get back together, but I just don't think they would.
Well, you never know.
Never say never. Look, we didn't think we'd ever see CM Punk back in WWE.
And he's back.
I didn't think I'd ever see Bret Hart and Vince McMahon shaking hands. I mean.
And they did. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah. Now, speaking of CM Punk, I just have to digress from WrestleMania for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about them airing the footage tonight on Dynamite?
What? Oh, so they're airing, I guess, something from WrestleMania weekend, or the fight, right?
Yeah, the Jack Perry fight. They're going to air it now on Dynamite.
That's stupid. That's just stupid.
You really had to get back at him because he called your company. He called out your company, so now you guys are going to try to grasp strings.
So he said that the company was basically children running a wrestling company. Mm-hmm. And so the way you're going to prove him wrong is to air a private matter that's supposed to be between mature grown-up adults. Okay. That shows me that you're not run by children. Yep, you showed me.
You showed us. Yeah. I
I
just want
mean, look,
a
yeah,
quick take on that before the show.
yeah. But I'm not a CM Punk apologist. I'm a fan of his work. Do I think
Right.
at times he's been a little bit of an a-hole? Yeah, I do. But you know what? You know who else at times in their life has been a little bit of an a-hole? This guy. And I'm sure a lot of people, if they take the truth serum, would point at themselves and say the same damn thing. We've all done things we're not proud of. We've
Exactly.
all had moments at a job where you were just burnt out from that place and you had to get out. And it really wasn't a knock, or shouldn't have been a knock on the company, that it just wasn't working anymore and you had to get out.
Right.
And God bless him, he was in the kind of work where he could get away and take that time and then eventually come back. And CM Punk even said it during the pregame show on Saturday. He said, man, he's like, was I gone too long? He's like, this place is so much fun to work at. And Big E goes, yes, you were. Or Michael Cole said, yes, you were. And then Big E chimed in and said that it was a private conversation the two of them had had. But Big E told him, no, you did exactly what you had to do for yourself.
Right.
And now you're back.
What?
Ooh.
And then I think
Oh, here's a good question for us. You don't think we'll be at the next pay-per-view? So obviously Jey Uso and Damian Priest are going to wrestle for the world title.
right.
We don't really know. We don't really know who's going after the Universal Championship just yet. And ironically, that's about a week after the draft. So I'm assuming the draft is going to be another one of those that happens that last weekend in April, but then doesn't take effect until after Backlash.
Right. Because let's see here. Backlash is
May 4th.
May 4th. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the draft's the 26th and the 29th. So,
Right.
yeah.
So how many days? Like a month-ish?
Yeah. 4 weeks in between. Well, the Backlash poster features Cody, Bianca, Randy, Rhea, Seth, and Becky. So,
Seth's in the...
I mean, look, I'd be all about a Cody versus
Randy
Orton match. Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic.
yeah, that would be fine by me. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question.
So we've got another comment here from David. He wants Logan Paul to keep the United States Championship. Well, he's at least going to keep it, I would say, until Backlash. Because there's no doubt he's got to be defending it there. It's going to be a big card, so you're going to want your U.S. champion there. I got to believe we're going to have a U.S. title match that night.
Yeah. I think maybe based upon what happened Sunday, maybe we're going to get LA Knight challenging Logan Paul at Backlash.
Make a ton of sense to me. You got to get a belt on LA Knight.
Yeah.
Because, he's a guy who, not that he necessarily needs a championship, but you want some validation, as you start to build his character and being able to say, oh, well, here comes LA Knight, the former United States champion, that has some clout to it, as opposed to just LA Knight, what's he actually done here?
Yeah.
I mean, he's had some nice matches. The fans love him. I mean, he's over as hell, but he hasn't really accomplished anything.
Right.
He beat AJ Styles at WrestleMania, but that's about it.
Right.
Right. So that's why put a championship on him, let him have that. And I think LA Knight, Logan Paul for the US title, that makes a ton of sense. Sammy, I don't know who could be next in line to challenge Sami Zayn. I mean, it looks like Chad Gable next week, but after after that, I don't know.
So they
what-
just let him have a rematch at Backlash, or
I mean, I'd be good with that.
yeah, I think most of us would be. I think it's going to be, as Michael Cole said on Monday night, an instant classic. I think we're going to be treated to a great match next Monday for the Intercontinental title.
Mhm.
Or they're really high on Bronson Reed. Maybe he's going to be thrown into the picture.
I would love that as well. I've been high on Bronson Reed for a while. I thought this guy had all the makings of a champion of some sort, whether it be Intercontinental, US. Heck, I wouldn't mind seeing him make a run at the King of the Ring in a couple months.
That
Remember
too.
I was saying they're pushing Bronson Reed a lot?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you did say that a couple days ago.
No,
But
it was today.
today, yeah.
Well, you're right. Whenever you said it, you were right, Sean.
Yeah, because he was watching. My kids and Denise were all off today for the end of Ramadan, so he was watching the end of Raw today, the main event match.
Sure.
That's what said that. So, or maybe you take like Bronson Reed and Ricochet and Chad Gable and do a fatal 4-way against Sami Zayn, kind of spice it up a little bit.
I think that any of those options sound great. Yeah.
Since we had a triple threat already for the U.S. title at WrestleMania, why not kind of flip it and have a multi-man match for Backlash for the Intercontinental Championship? Tag team title wise, the Awesome Truth. I don't know if they had DIY challenge them yet.
DIY
Yeah, but that makes sense to be for a future matchup. Yeah.
Might be, and another thing is we got to see where all the chips fall, because if Theory and Waller are your SmackDown champions,
right?
I think you're going to need a top babyface team to chase them. And who would you rather have? The Street Profits, who are kind of in between with Bobby, or would you rather bring over DIY from the draft and have them go after him?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Pretty Deadly.
Or what about the Creed brothers, maybe?
Or the Creed brothers. I'm thinking maybe to jockey into that top position, because I'm also thinking out a little bit. SummerSlam's in Cleveland this year. Johnny Gargano's from Cleveland.
Right.
I'm going to want to do something special for him.
Sure.
Why not have him win the tag titles at SummerSlam with Ciampa? And that I think
that would be a fantastic idea. Yeah.
And I think that would be a really good run also for Waller and Theory to let him have it from Mania to SummerSlam. Try to get, because I understand, would they have been my choice to put the belts on? Probably not. I would have went with New Catch. But I get why they did it. And they're two young stars that get under your skin. So they're perfect heels, which falls right into their wheelhouse of heel loving.
I absolutely love that team. Yes.
You know you do. And I think that's when you have the hometown boy knock them off to give the fans that big moment. So hopefully DIY goes to SmackDown.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great fit. I think that the SmackDown audience would absolutely love DIY. Right. I think they make more sense just for it's always been in my mind that, and maybe it's just a perception thing, that Raw's more about the show, SmackDown's more about bell to bell. That's just always been my perception on Raw versus SmackDown. And to me, DIY works incredible bell to bell. A lot of the extra gaga stuff doesn't really work with them.
Right.
Maybe the best thing that I think Ciampa ever did as far as extra stuff was when him and Timothy Thatcher. I thought they were fantastic together.
Yeah.
But other than that, when he sits backwards at the chair and then gets up and, slams the chair shut, that's pretty cool. but I think that plays better on the NXT show or on a SmackDown show than it does on Monday Night Raw.
Right.
But I mean, not that they couldn't do it, but I just feel like it plays better on SmackDown. And yeah, I would love the idea of DIY working with A Town Down Under. I think that would make for a great SummerSlam tag team title match.
Yeah.
I wonder, I certainly hope that now that they split up the tag team titles, they don't do one of their favorite things is always have the Raw tag team champions get drafted to SmackDown and the SmackDown tag team champions get traded to Raw. And so they have to switch up the belts.
I don't think they're going to do that this year.
I hope not, because God, that's so stupid.
It really is. Because they
In fact, if they were to do that, I would. Yeah, if they were to do that, I hope they'd rebrand the tag titles like they did with the women's championships.
Right. Which I think they could easily do that. Have it WWE tag titles and World Heavyweight tag titles.
World tag team titles. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, where do you stand on, because to me, my whole thing is just, I still really believe, not that I've seen anything to confirm this, but at the end of the year, when Monday Night Raw moves to Netflix, that Netflix has got to be like, look, man, we want everybody to be available for our show. Like, your whole roster has to be available. I think that they're going to have the one WWE roster. I mean, they'll keep NXT as its own separate brand, but I think Raw and SmackDown are going to be one locker room. How do you? I mean, again, this is just me and what I like. I like that better than the brand extension. I've never understood it because I feel like you're just limiting yourself too much.
I don't know what they're going to do, because the other thing that threw me through the loop was on Raw. They had Aldis and Pierce together in the back, but they also had Ava with them. Is NXT going to be a part of the draft?
They might. They might. I just had to put that up there. I just like when somebody tells me I'm right. Thanks, David.
It tells you you're right. Yes.
A very heel move on my part, just bragging about being right about something.
Right.
Hence the Turning Heel podcast.
Right. I think that
yeah, that'd be very interesting to see. Well, last year when we had Corbin go down to NXT, I thought that was a unique play on that.
Right.
You know, that anything could happen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you caught the end of NXT. I haven't yet, but I read about
I haven't caught it yet.
it.
Yeah.
It's interesting, so I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the rest of it too. I'm about halfway through.
Right.
Like I told everybody before, my tendency is to always be about a day behind.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's your work schedule.
Tuesday I always watch Raw. Wednesday I watch NXT. Thursday I'll watch AEW. So I'll be very curious tomorrow afternoon. I'll probably text you at some point when I see the footage they air of the CM Punk Jack Perry fight.
Yeah,
Is Jack Perry even still working there? I haven't seen him in 6 months either.
Yeah, you haven't been watching New Japan then. They sent him there.
Oh, okay.
They sent him there, and he's now in the House of Torture in New Japan.
Okay. Good for him.
Supposedly Tony Khan was upset with him, so they, even though he's still under contract, I guess they put him on a little excursion.
Yeah, I heard that Jack Perry asked for his release, and it was denied.
Right. Yeah. So.
Although they did release some other guys like the Boys. Who else did they release? They released a bunch of people. Now, like I know last week we kind of touched on it.
We touched on it, but other than the Boys, it wasn't that much that would really impact.
Right.
Much. It was mostly people that didn't have any airtime.
Yeah, I mean, big surprise. After all this time, Tony Khan now finally realizes it's a business.
Right.
And, all these guys that you're paying to not be a part of anything, you know you can fire them and they don't have to be a part of anything anymore.
It happens.
I mean, look, and the thing is, I know some of this may come across as me bashing and maybe and not liking AEW. I actually really enjoy it. I think it's a great company, and I think it's really great to have an alternative to WWE because, man, there were some years there where WWE was putting out some hot flipping garbage.
Yeah, they're definitely
And oh, and it's because nobody was pushing them.
right.
Like TNA was all but gone. And I mean, some would argue maybe it still is almost gone, but there was a while there in like that 2017, 2018, 2019 where man, it was like week to week, is this company still going to be in business?
Right.
Where at one point, like the Harris boys, they had purchased some TV time. They had gotten it taped.
Right.
They had like 5 or 6 episodes in the can that they were airing, and afterwards, it's like, well, what's the plan after that? Oh,
Right. Yeah.
and it looked like man, they were all but dead. And I was every couple of days looking around, seeing is WWE purchasing TNA so they can have all their video library.
Which would be fantastic if they did.
Yeah, it certainly would. Then I'd get to stop paying for the TNA Plus now,
Right. Yeah.
which now I get just so I can watch TNA Impact Wrestling. And yeah, I'll definitely, I got to put this up here. Yeah, WWE has stepped up lately. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes,
And I think a
100%.
lot of it has to do with the direction of the company now and the leadership that they are under compared to the prior regime, which wasn't the best at the end.
No, and while we'll bash what Vince McMahon did towards the end of his career, and especially like if any of the allegations about him, if any of them are remotely true, which I don't like to pass judgment, I don't like to assume guilt, but if they are true, man, like screw you, buddy, like kick rocks, and I never want to see him again. But that can't see what he did though before. Like, it's kind of a shame because I feel like there should be a way, almost like with the Chris Benoit, if there was a way to acknowledge what he did for the industry without acknowledging him personally.
Right.
Like, I wish there was a way to do that, for Vince McMahon, because he, like, dude, we just had the biggest WrestleMania. And as much as we can hate on Vinnie Mac, without him, there is no WrestleMania.
Exactly. That's the thing where
Yeah.
I think they're really pushing a fine line with this whole thing.
Yeah.
Of, yes, we want to scrub him, but how do you scrub the person that's done the most for the business ever? It's
it kind of reeks of like when they tried to say they were scrubbing Hulk Hogan in the company. It's like, okay, man, like you can say you're scrubbing Hulk Hogan, but you're gonna go pull every Hulk Hogan promo off the network,
right. You're gonna pull off the first 8 WrestleManias because he headlined all.
Yeah, right.
Right. It's like sometimes you gotta give a little bit, and
Right.
I mean, he is a slime ball, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
And it's funny because like anybody who like sits there and says, "Oh wow, I couldn't believe Vince McMahon could do this." Did you see his character in the Attitude Era?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does it make you think maybe that was just him with the volume turned up?
And I think it was.
Which is something they like to say about a lot of these guys. That when they're really good, it's just them with the volume turned up. Well, maybe
Maybe
this is
it'll-
Vince McMahon with the volume turned up.
I don't know.
But so let's get back to some of the matches. Really, really thought it was a gutsy performance by Liv Morgan night one. I'm not Liv Morgan, excuse me, Becky Lynch. Sorry, everybody, fraudulent slip. I think it should have been Liv Morgan in that spot, but Becky
Backlash.
Lynch had a fantastic. Yeah, dude, did you see that segment of her on Raw? She went ballistic. She
I
went
knew you were
angry
very
ex-girlfriend on. Yeah,
Right, because Sean goes, I guess they're planning for Backlash. I said, yeah. And I knew that would make you happy to finally get the livery match.
Yes,
The
you
one
knew I was going to be out here talking about the Liv
the
Morgan
one
Rhea
you've been
Ripley match. that we're gonna
hoping
have.
for since the Rumble. We were going to get it.
Yeah. Look, it's just it makes sense. Rhea Ripley is the one who took her out, and the whole Liv Morgan revenge tour has been about her getting her hands on Rhea Ripley. And while I will agree that easy for me to say, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch was definitely the more marquee value match
Right.
and deserved to be at WrestleMania. There's definitely going to be that contingent of the audience that believe that Liv Morgan needed to be in a high profile match, whether it be at WrestleMania or then to have Rhea Ripley at Backlash.
Right.
And although I will say I saw a few things like that some of the people wanted to copy off the "We Want Cody" thing and wanted to have the "We Want Liv" for the world title match at WrestleMania. I was never in that boat. It's like, no, this is Becky versus Rhea. Like that's the match it needs to be, and let them have it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And now the Liv Morgan fans and Rhea Ripley, they will get to meet at Backlash in France, and I think they're going to tear the house down.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I know we've kind of touched on it a couple times here tonight. Like, where do we go from here for the WWE Championship? We touched on the U.S. title. I loved your idea of Logan Paul versus LA Knight.
Right.
And the Intercontinental title. And the tag titles, look, I dug the whole ladder match. And as much as everybody's going to sit there and say, Eric, aren't you against the idea of splitting up the tag titles? Not at all. Loved it.
Right.
Loved the whole match. Loved the whole concept. Was willing to do it because it made sense to the storyline.
Yeah. So maybe A-Town Down Under defends against maybe the Street Profits first.
I would think that would make sense. Yeah.
It could be one of three teams: the Street Profits, New Catch, but I don't know if you want them to eat the pin, or Pretty Deadly.
Look, you could even have it be against the New Catch Republic and have A-Town Down Under basically just walk out on the match. Like it could be a very old school move where it's like, the baby faces take control and look like they're going to get the win. And instead of getting a clean win in the middle, you just have the champs walk out and retain their titles and lose by count out.
Right. We could do that.
And also because, like you said, the idea of not wanting them to lose clean in the middle,
right?
In Europe, you could then say, okay, well, since then the A-Town Down Under got counted out, we'll have a rematch like on a SmackDown, like in the coming weeks,
right?
And that could be where you have some shenanigans and A-Town Down Under get the win.
Yeah, exactly. They've got some time to work with that.
Yeah.
And I really want to see if they're going to push that little faction of Logan Paul, Waller, and Theory together with all the gold.
I think that'd be awesome. I think they really should push that faction.
Right.
Do you maybe scrap the idea of having a championship match at all and just say, hey, we're going to have the 6-man, have like say new catch, and I saw Sheamus is supposed to be coming back.
Right.
Sheamus joins the new catch Republic there, and they have a 6-man, and that could set up a possibility of say Sheamus and Logan Paul for the U.S. Championship.
That would be great.
But man, and then that would leave you with where do you put LA Knight? I imagine you could still put him either. Hey, look, you could move him to Raw and have him, babyface versus babyface for the Intercontinental title.
Right.
Or
No,
you could,
there's a lot of question marks now.
yeah.
And
Well, that's the thing. We don't know where anybody's going to end up because of the draft.
right. So I know you like to do your way too early predictions for WrestleMania 41.
Yes, that's what I was going to close the show with tonight. Yeah, let's get right into them.
Well, I was going to say we might have to wait till after the draft to really get a good projection for this.
Sure. But I will say the only thing that's always mandatory, the first show after WrestleMania, you got to give me WrestleMania 41, your main event.
Main event of next year's WrestleMania.
That is way too early.
Yes.
I could say Cody versus The Rock because of the way they build it up on Monday night.
Sure.
But part of me is thinking that might be a SummerSlam match.
That's what I think too. Yep.
Now, I'm
I
thinking
think I know where you're going.
Okay, so it's for both nights, correct?
It can be. Look, it can. The mandatory is night 2. Anything else you want to give me, feel free. But that's the mandatory.
I think Cody will defend the title at WrestleMania 41. I think we're going to get to that stage.
He's gonna hold it for a whole year.
Yeah. Now it's who's he going to defend it against?
So do you go babyface versus babyface, which would make a ton of sense to me?
You know what?
What about say a Seth Rollins?
I was going to just say, I think it might be Cody versus Seth for the WWE title. I think for the World Heavyweight title, if they continuously play this out with all the injuries and all, I think we might get McIntyre Punk again at Mania next year. I think we might
that idea.
Slam, and then we might get it again at Mania. I'm not sure what they're going to. I think Gunther will be in the main event picture as well. Women's side, I'm going to say the women's world heavyweight title match. Mommy will be going into WrestleMania, still the champion, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I think she's going to get taken down by the Storm, Jade Cargill.
You know that's what they would love to do. You know they would love to let Jade Cargill just build and headline WrestleMania next year.
Jade Cargill, I don't know if it's the World Heavyweight or the WWE.
Right.
She's walking away with a major women's title next year at WrestleMania. That I will guarantee.
I can also say that it would only make sense if Rhea Ripley is still women's world champion going into her second year, that the winner of the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble, will challenge Rhea Ripley, because to me, like, she'll just be the biggest star in that role.
Right.
And that's why, and I could easily see Jade Cargill winning the Women's Royal Rumble next year, and that would set up perfectly for Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Title.
Yeah.
I really like that prediction. And In fact, I think I like all of yours. The only thing I'll add is a couple part timers. I think that could be in the mix. It's a match they've teased for years. I think we might get Rock and Roman Reigns one on
I,
one, especially if we have Rock and Cody at SummerSlam. What if, we have like sort of a run in by Roman Reigns, and that sets up Roman and The Rock at WrestleMania?
and then the run-in sets it up. Do we flip flop and make Roman the face again and Rock the heel?
I kind of think you can just let both characters be themselves and let the audience decide who's the babyface and who's the heel.
I think so too. And
Yeah.
this is another question. What's going to happen to the bloodline now?
Oh, that's a great question. Are they do you just keep Jimmy Uso? I got to believe that Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa are now both individual entities. Like when they get drafted, I think they get drafted individually to whichever show. Like it's not going to be a draft of the bloodline. Like Roman, I don't think is even going to be mentioned in the draft. Like I just feel like they're not going to talk about him. Like not to say that he's gone or that or he might be back at some point. I just think he's not mentioned at all during the entire draft. And whenever Roman does come back, it's like whatever show he wants to be on, that's the show he'll be on.
Okay. No, because I don't go on Twitter or X much at all.
Right. Yeah.
I did go on to check out the speed match today. And when I went to check that out, I noticed Roman made a post yesterday saying, yesterday I mourned. Today is day one. And he looks like he was working out somewhere. So could he be trying to throw a curve? I mean, he is going to take some time off, obviously, but
Sure.
we're going to be next for him.
Sure. And when everybody sits there and says, yeah, maybe. Whenever anybody sits there and says, like, oh, well, Roman still got leukemia. Well, Roman never said he didn't have leukemia anymore. It's not one of those things that just goes away. It's in remission. That's what he said it was when he came back. It was in remission.
Correct.
So the medication he's on, like, this isn't news. Like, he's going to be on it for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And, like, so it's like, I don't really feel like anybody's like, oh, well, he's taking the time off because of his leukemia. No, I think he's just taking time off because he's had a 3-year run that was unbelievable. Now, look, we can knock the whole, like, that he wasn't on a full-time schedule, and he wasn't.
Right.
But, like, this is just what he does. He takes his time off after WrestleMania, and this is how he gets the big-time matches. This is how he keeps the special things special. And,
right.
And that's something that Roman did very well. Brock Lesnar did very well. John Cena did very well. Like these guys, they know how to preserve their bodies and to make it to where they can have these long runs. Like that's why now, like, of course, Roman 10 years ago was running at a much faster pace. Well, Roman now, like he's 10 years older. Like body slows down. Like as somebody who's north of 40, I can tell you, like I don't go drinking the way I did when I was in my 20s.
Right.
These guys don't wrestle like they did in their 20s. Like,
right. So the body does slow
down.
down.
Our truth at 52, but still being able to put out the way he does.
Yeah. He's awesome.
Although I don't know that he even knows he's 52.
Yeah.
No.
R-Truth.
Yeah, R-Truth don't have a clue who he is, where he's at. Like he thought he was wrestling DX a couple of weeks ago. Like
his character is just tremendous.
I love it.
That's the only word you could say is he's tremendous. R-Truth.
And on Monday, how great was it when John Cena comes out there as the tag team partner for Awesome Truth?
That was phenomenal. You kind of knew it was going to be him when he said the guy
Yeah.
you can't see, and it's just like, oh,
You
coming
can't
out.
see me.
We knew he was in town because he was there the night before. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It was funny because my wife was getting ready for bed at the like when they went to commercial. So she's like a 3-on-2 match. She's like, I'm just gonna get ready for bed. And when they come back from commercial, and after they're out there for a little bit, the music comes on. She comes running out and watches John Cena's moment with.
of course, it's
Yeah.
Cena. You have to. He's just a special character that they've had for so many years.
He really is. They call him Big Match John, and he deserves it. He deserves all the credit in the world. And it's funny because for years, people wanted to knock him and talk about how they didn't like him and thought he was just shoved down their throats. Now I feel like more and more people are understanding how good they had it with John Cena.
Exactly.
Remember, let's go Cena. Cena sucks.
Yes. Yes.
And I like that he embraced that. He just like because so many guys would be like, "Oh, they booed me, they don't like me," and they'd get all pissed off about it. He'd be like, "Well, they're reacting to me, so I keep pushing the buttons.
Right.
Either I'm trying to get the cheers or I'm trying to get the boos." Or that's what most guys do. They either, if they're a babyface, they want to get the cheers. If they're the heel, they want to get the boos. John Cena had the foresight to see all you really need was the reaction.
Exactly.
And that was so smart on his part, and to not let some of those boos, because a lot of those boos weren't necessarily directed towards John. Now, like he's the one who got them, but they were more directed towards the creative. That was just like, oh, so we've got this again. Oh,
Exactly.
John Cena, the hero, saves the day. And
It gets old. It does get old, but
sure.
it's like, yeah, people are always saying, well, they turned Hogan heel.
Sure.
There's a big difference.
Well,
Hogan,
one, John was willing to go heel. Who are you going to have to be the babyface that was going to go against him?
and the other thing is Hogan was in a completely different company when they turned him heel. He was in WCW at the time.
Right. He hadn't made
And
he had made all those millions for WWE. He hadn't really made them for WCW. He'd done good there, but he wasn't the top guy in WCW. That was Sting.
right. And the other thing is that Cena with the 500 Make-A-Wishes, how do you switch that? When you
How do you make him a bad guy when he's still
when
out there making all those wishes?
right.
John Cena's the man. He's the best. Just because of all that stuff, just because of all the extra stuff he did. I'm such a huge John Cena fan.
Yeah.
And I know you wouldn't think the guy who loves all the heels is a big John Cena fan.
Right. But it's the way it works out sometimes.
Well, right. But I mean, how do you not root for a guy who just all he wants to do is make the business better?
Exactly.
And ultimately, isn't that what we're all in this for? We want to make this business better. We want to make pro wrestling fun. We wanted to make it cool again. And how long did we yearn for that? And thank you, Rock. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Roman. Thank you, all Hunter. Thank you, everybody. You made this industry cool again.
Right. My wife was saying in the back, Denise was saying back, how Cena seemed to have lost some muscle mass.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he came out this time.
He also has lost a lot of hair.
Some hair, yeah.
Poor Cena.
Poor John. But I don't know if you want to go over real quick our predictions.
Yeah, I guess we might as well. How far ahead are you?
Well, going into the weekend, I had 34 points. You had 29. Sean had 28. Going out of ROH Supercard of Honor, it got close. I had 42. You had 39. Sean had 34. Stand and Deliver, I had 50. You had 48. Sean had 38. We all picked up a decent chunk at that show.
Yeah.
Night one, I ended the night with 59. You ended the night with 53, and Sean ended with 47. And then night two, I ended the night with 69. You ended because of the double bonus of the Priest, of the Drew and Priest back to back.
Yeah.
You had 58, and Sean has 53.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
All right. So I've got some ground to make up, and hopefully we can start that road back at Backlash. Well, at Dynasty in a couple weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you really wanted to get frisky, we could do Windy City Riot, but
This is really get frisky.
When's that?
Friday night. So
I'd just be winging it. 'Cause I
Yeah.
don't really. Yeah.
especially in the main event, it's kind of a hard one to predict.
What is it?
What is the main one?
Tatsui Naito is defending the IWGP World Championship against John Moxley.
Oh.
Does New Japan give it to Mox for a little bit because he does so much work for him? We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, it would make sense, and then he could take that belt and bring it to the around the world. Yeah, he could take it to Dynasty. He could be on AEW, walking around with their world title.
Sure.
He could either defend it and lose it at Dynasty or at what you call it? Their why can't I think of their head-to-head?
Forbidden Door 3,
Forbidden Door 3. There we go.
which would make sense.
Yeah, I could easily see Moxley winning the world title and then dropping it back to either Naito or somebody else over there in Japan at Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Maybe a little ZSJ. Would love to see Zack Sabre Jr. as the IWGP World Championship.
One day, it's got to happen.
Yeah. That's my dude. I really like him. He's such a prick, but I love him.
Right.
Again, I love my heels.
That you do.
All right. So now we've gotten the recap. We did all our predictions for our much too early WrestleMania 41 predict. Do we have any idea where that's going to be?
I've heard rumors for a while, Minnesota. You know what I would do if I was Triple H? I'd double down and have it in Philly again next year. Why not?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Just make it a Philly thing every year. WrestleMania is a Philly thing.
They've only done it a couple times. Like 4 and 5 are both at Trump Plaza in Atlantic City.
Right.
Technically, WrestleMania 1 and 2 are both in New York. I mean, granted, it was.
Right. Yeah, one was in Nassau Coliseum, but then also in Chicago and LA. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, they could do it, but everyone's saying Minnesota is the favorite.
Well, I mean, Minnesota makes a ton of sense. Atlanta makes a ton of sense. Vegas, Indianapolis, they all make a ton of sense. Like Vegas hasn't had one since 9, but they did have SummerSlam recently.
Right. Indianapolis would be a good spot for WrestleMania.
Yeah, they had 7, and that wasn't it wasn't good.
They had 8.
Or that's at 8. Yeah, LA had 7. You're right.
LA had 7,
yeah. They had 8, and that was a black card. Even though they had a great Intercontinental title match, I loved the Piper Bret Hart match.
You know, a lot of people crap on it. I don't find it to be as bad as. Granted, there's a lot of blah to it, but
the
Intercontinental title match was good. The Savage Flair match, I thought, told a nice story.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah, and let's face it, Papa Shango did botch the spot with Hogan and Sid. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, he 100% botched that spot. And look, I'm not even going to try to kill the guy for botching a spot. You know, anybody who's ever worked any of those shows, that stuff happens.
Yeah.
It sucks that it happens right at WrestleMania, you know, the biggest event of the year. And
Exactly.
but anyway, I think that's enough from us. Mike, anything to add before we get out of here?
No, I think we covered the weekend, and now we got to look forward to, I guess, the next major thing's the draft.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe next week we'll do a little mock draft. You know,
I know
we'll
you
just
mock football draft, so I guess
I do love the good mock draft. Yeah.
so I guess we could do
Anybody
that.
who's watched any of the shows on here, man, they've got a billion mock drafts on here on the Philly Sports Alliance and the Edge of Philly Sports networks. Oh, they love doing some mock drafts. I just love mocking them, but that's a different thing.
Right.
What a great buzzer in the house.
But everybody have a great night. And yeah, what a great weekend. What a great time to be a wrestling fan.
That it is.
I was so proud of Philadelphia. You know, in fact, we didn't have the murders and nobody got murdered at any of the stadiums. So good job, Philly.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Very-
So everybody have a great night. Have a great week. We'll see you back here next week. And happy wrestling, everybody.